keep the coaching cues coming. We've been getting a lot of good feedback about that. Anything y'all want to hear, I'd love to hear about it. So would he. Definitely going to be making an effort to do a lot more like regular content. So yeah.
So we're doing push day today. So it's the beginning of our training cycle. We're going to focus mostly on chest and shoulders today.
Very bold, and I'm going to say that this is going to be the best video that Bryan and I have ever shot thus far during this quarantine. And I'll tell you why.
It's the second time that we're filming it because micro SD cards are really easy to lose.
Yeah, so some genius lost the SD card that's like the size of like my pinky nail. So somewhere in outer space there is this chest workout, but that's a good thing because we're about to do it again. It was a really good one. We did it 5 days ago and we want to do it again already. A lot of good movements. A lot of good movements that you can be doing at home if you're training at home. I know gyms just got put off again here in Texas, so we're looking at another at least like 18 days or so. So we did keep that in mind with this one. It's a lot of good stuff that you can do out of wherever you're training as long as you have access to minimal stuff.
So things that I think definitely brought up both of our chest and shoulders are really scaling back on the weight, focusing on form. Bring your arm across, focus on bringing your elbows together instead of your hands. And then also training chest and shoulders together, I think, was a big one.
For recovery.
So.
Yeah. The more and more we do this, the more and more we realize that most of the, obviously all of the growth occurs outside of the gym, but the recovery is the most important aspect to make continued progress, especially once you get to a very advanced level. Everyone's training hard, everyone's doing all that they can do. It really does become like a very intuitive art/science about regulating your recovery, because that is, at the end of the day, what's the most important. It doesn't matter how hard you train, it matters how much you can recover from. An overview, we're going to start with the compound movement, which will be, in our case, a prime incline. That's the only one that, is not going to be in most of y'all's garages. I have access to it. I'm going to use it because it's the profile that I want. I'll tell you when we get to that exercise things that you can do to make what you probably have available to you as good of a profile for your chest as possible. There's a bunch of great free weight options, obviously. And then from there on out, it's all stuff that you can do at home for sure, as long as you have minimal equipment. We're going to move from that incline press into a superset of banded dumbbell flies and inclined push-ups. So we'll go from there, and then we'll go to a really cool superset that we did. You might have seen it on the Tuesday tip because I did pull that off before that memory card got launched into oblivion. But it'll be that chest-supported incline dumbbell lateral into a punch lateral is what we call them. We'll explain when we get there with the band. From there, definitely want to dip today.
Yeah, we're doing some dips today.
Cool. Yeah, so we'll do some weighted dips and. We'll give you the why behind the obnoxious amount of chains that we'll end up using. There is a why, I promise, in addition to looking like total badasses.
It's a really good exercise just to finish and round everything off because it hits everything.
Definitely.
Really well.
Using the chains, you're able to really play around with where the load gets really heavy. So we'll get to that when we get to that, but we're going to get a little more warm, and then we will see y'all at that incline press. While he's breathing, I'll tell you what he's doing. We did a really heavy straight set to start. We both got like 6 to 8 reps, forced 1 or 2, and now the second set, dropped the weight a good bit, still pretty heavy load, but we are doing rest pause sets, so you're going to do as many as you can do. Take 12, 15 breaths, around 30 seconds worth of rest, get on it, do it again. Same thing, come up, take 12, 15 breaths, or like 30-ish seconds of rest, and go again. Optimally, you want all your reps to add up to under 20. If you hit over 20, next time you train, you need to go up. That's progressive overload in a nutshell for you. But yeah, Bryan just hit 12 or 13, 14 his first set, so You usually hit the wall pretty hard on this, so we'll see what he's about to do. He's about to go again. Good, rest. And that is how it should go. You got 14 really good ones the first set. He slammed into the wall at 5 or 6 in the second set. It shouldn't be something you can do the same or even within like reasonably the same. Every part of the rest pause, those 3 parts, they're all to failure. We're not getting force reps on them, but we are going to failure on all 3 parts of the rest pause. So he's about to get after his last one. I wouldn't be surprised if he only got like 2 or 3 reps. Let's go, B. Come on, make him pretty. Make him pretty when it's hard. Yes. Good. Come on. One more good one. Fight it. There you go. Good. That was a perfect one. Fist bump. Whoop, whoop.
Attacking my body, infuriating, scattering through me like a parasite. Desensitized to the world, my affections controlling like a fucking parasite.
Let's go. Time the rest pause. Come on.
Up.
Pack it up and disappear. You gotta have some place to go, because you can't come back around here. Goodbye.
Up.
From the rhythm is something wild, venomous. Enemies trying to place to go, because you can't come back around here. Goodbye.
Up.
How'd that feel?
Blood going.
Maxed out, so now I'm finished. Every day was like a hell day. Every night was like a
Alright guys, so next up for our chest, and honestly it was one and done for heavy compounds for our chest. We did 2 really hard sets on that incline. So from there we're moving on to a pretty sweet little superset we've been doing last couple weeks. If you followed me on Instagram you might have seen it, but definitely going to do the rundown. It is a banded dumbbell fly, straight into a band fly, straight into a foot elevated push-up, which biases the chest and allows us to get a better stretch through our pecs. So we go from isolation exercise with weight to isolation exercise with just the band to a compound movement with our chest completely exhausted. So it's a really good sequence of events to really push your chest past the point of failure. We've been getting really sore from it, really been enjoying it. So let me show you what it looks like for the band. Get the band, you're going to put one twist in it, and then get it looped around the meaty part of your palm. Don't have it just around your finger, it'll feel like it's going to rip your finger off. Behind your back, underneath your rear delt, just like that. You'll know you had it right if you can just fly with nothing in your hands and feel it. This is a great illustration of what we're trying to do without the dumbbells in the way. We're trying to get the elbow as far away from the chest or origin as possible, and then get that elbow as far as over that origin as possible. Just like that at the end. This is not a fly. That's loss of tension. That's a fly.
Now turn to this side so I can see. So do it with your hands. So put your hands together.
That is not a fly. That's not maximum contraction. Look how far my elbows are. Now watch that. A lot more engagement through the chest. So.
There we go. Come on. Push it. Push it. Drop the dumbbells. Come on. Push, push, push. Come on. Now for the hardest part.
From there, we moved on to the seated military pin press. Not a 90-degree incline. You see it, it's a very high incline. Definitely some pec involvement, but because we train push and it's not shoulder day, that's okay. It's actually a good thing from the standpoint that, you know, it's A, finishing off some chest fibers, and then B, it's a much more comfortable angle and a much safer angle for your shoulders. I feel like it's just a lot better, you know, because instead of, you know, being up here at 90 with everything getting jammed at the bottom, you're here. There's a lot more room to get a full range of motion. So that's the why behind, you know, a little bit more of a high incline than a strict like 90 degree for the military. Yes. Come on. Let's go. Let's get one more. There you go, B. From there, we went to that lateral complex with the dumbbell into the band. Really addressed why we do that in the order that we do it. You know, it corrects the fatal flaw of the dumbbell lateral, and that is, you know, there's no tension in the lengthened range. So by exhausting that shortened range and then moving on to exhausting that lengthened range, we're able to make a pretty complete exercise out of it whenever you combine the two, or I guess able to like completely exhaust your shoulder. You know what I'm trying to say, right? What we're going to do is a superset that we've been doing because we haven't really had access to cables that much. So this has been our way to get the most out of our laterals. Dumbbell laterals by themselves are pretty crappy exercise because from here to like right here, there's practically no tension until that dumbbell starts getting taken by gravity as you get away from the pivot point. So the most resistance you have is up here when the muscles are at its shortest and weakest, when you have no resistance down here when it's at its strongest. So the superset that we do to kind of address this issue is a chest-supported dumbbell lateral, chest-supported because it keeps you fixed at the angle we want, which is the medial deltoid at the very top when we're doing laterals. We'll be able to see that. Takes away the ability to cheat. and we work to complete exhaustion there in that shortened range. You'll see we're not going all the way here and losing tension. We're only going with our hands right outside of our shoulders, keeping tension the whole time. From there, we're going to go and do a banded cuff lateral, a punch lateral, if you will. We normally do them on cables, but like I said, we're improvising with the band. Purpose of that is to really exhaust the lengthened range, where you still should have some juice left even after working to the point of exhaustion with the dumbbells. So what we're going to do there is have it on our wrist, get way out to where there's a ton of tension to start with, and you're going to think about pushing your shoulder down and back and keeping it engaged and straight arm the whole way, thinking about punching the ground and trying to reach out and touch the wall. We're not trying to shrug up with our chest. It should be very minimal. That it should be down, back, out. The trap is not very involved at all. So let me show you what it looks like.
Don't make me sad, don't make me cry. Sometimes love is not enough and the road gets tough. I don't know why I keep making me laugh.
So completely dead in that upper range, going straight into the cuff lateral. If you don't have a cuff, use the handle. If you don't have a handle, just stick your hand inside the band. I'll just fluff. Get a good alignment. Arm out in front. That shoulder down and back. And we're going straight out, trying to reach down and out the whole time. From there, we finished up with pretty heavy weighted dips. We've really been enjoying the dips lately. It's just been a great all-around finisher. Smokes the front delts, use your shoulders, ton of chest involvement. And then with how much pressing that we've done, and especially pressing with the top really overloaded, our triceps have already gotten a ton of work. So by doing that compound weighted, and especially weighted with the chains, we're really able to throw a lot of stress on the tricep at the top, where it's, we're out of that hole and our shoulders aren't super vulnerable. So able to get some good compound work in for the triceps when they're already thrashed. So what that does to our split is later on in the week when we train arms, the past couple times, every time we do those dips, we'll take out the compound motion for triceps, whether it was going to be dips or whether it was going to be close grip bench press. And we just do strictly isolation movements for both the triceps and the biceps. The way that we're doing them weighted, we got the chains, so it's going to be, an accommodating resistance. The lower we get, the less resistance there is, because the more chains on the ground instead of off the ground. As you press, that's a good thing, especially like for people like with bad shoulders and fragile pecs and stuff. because you have the least weight when you're most susceptible to injury and you're most, like opened up and stretched out on the hole. The second you really get into a good pressing plane, if you will, a lot of that resistance really rolls on, especially if you have it set right, and you'll see how we clip the chains on. If you don't have chains, put plates on the dip belt. You can mess around with the length by using different lengths of chain. If you don't have a dip belt, use your normal belt with a piece of rope. If you don't have a normal belt, just use a big piece of rope. That all works. So when there's a will, there's a way. So I'll show you what it looks like. You'll see the form with them. We're not just doing anything like that. It's just like everything else we do. Everything's real locked in, under control. You'll see we're focusing on getting the elbow away from the chest and getting a full amount of elbow flexion, stretch both the tricep and the pec as much as possible. So your wife's calling. You want me to take it? Got Bryan on his way. Him and his wife are expecting their second, and I had a doctor's appointment. So when we looked up at the clock and saw it was time for him to be leaving then,
I'll clean up everything.
Literally told him leave. I'll clean it all up, and yeah, he made it out of the gym in like 30 seconds. I was impressed. So yeah, that was the workout. And I told y'all how I lost the SD card, so that was super awesome of me. But the end of that workout, after we recapped it, I gave everyone kind of a what's what in terms of contest plans, what's going on with my diet and cardio. So here we go, take 2 on that. We are currently coming up on 13 weeks out. Saturday we'll be 13 weeks out from Tampa, and then I believe 18 weeks out from New York, which got moved to September 5th. Which is currently the weekend before the Olympia. At this point, I don't really know when shows are going to be. It is what it is. Like I've said in past videos, and I'll say it now, I'm eating so much food, I'm not suffering. I'm having a really good time training. All my health markers are great, my blood work's coming back good, so it's like I'm in a place where I can, sustain what we're doing for a while. So I'm just going to keep on plugging along. I'm going to keep on getting better. I honestly feel like I've yet to take a step back since any of this happened, which, is awesome to be able to say. At the end of the day, that's how it should be, though. It's my job. So that's just me handling business, which is what I need to do. But yeah, so, those contests, I'm obviously super stoked for my pro debut. At this point, I've kind of had to shift the focus from where it will be or what show it will be to what I want to look like and the physique that I want to bring. I have a vision of the physique that I want to bring, and it's just a matter of having a show to do it at this point. And I think there will be shows. It's just, when they happen. I'm hoping, we're done with scheduling changes, but I feel like at this point, so much has remained to be seen about everything. I feel like we have the potential for even more changes. So, like I said, just kind of rolling with the punches.